Scorpio and Capricorn. These signs are sextile, right? So there is an opportunity and there is on paper compatibility between these signs. You can think about Capricorn as, very prototypical masculine energy, right? Where we think about Cancer, its opposite is feminine energy. It doesn't mean men and women, we all have masculine and feminine energy in us, really just kind of an archetype and a concept. But Capricorn, right, it's the calcification of goals, it's the rigidity, it's the distillation of a goal or a want or a desire into a specific laid path and a specific set of rules for getting from point A to point B and for obtaining what is wanted. And that system and that path and that process is subordinated to nothing, right? Nothing is going to deter, when we think about traditional Capricorn energy, is going to deter the person from going out and making that happen. And so Capricorn approaches relationships more from a place of, this is something that can be a complement, this is something that can be a support, this is a partner that's walking a similar path and we can walk parallel paths. So either way, the path is always in some ways more important than the relationship and then the person. It's not always the case, but on paper that's kind of the essence of that zodiac sign. And there's a certain practicality to that. I would say there's also can be sometimes an intensity or an imbalance or a really overly rigid Capricorn can sometimes almost get like so grounded in the path that it becomes like fantastical, that it almost becomes super irrational because of just how much they're walking this supposedly rational path. And I think the challenge for Capricorn with a sign like Scorpio is that Scorpio wants someone that is investing something major in the partnership. Scorpio wants sometimes that person to turn around, turn their gaze, primarily to the relationship. Doesn't necessarily mean that, Scorpio wants Capricorn to give all that up. In fact, there's a lot of ways Scorpio respects and is attracted to that intensity of Capricorn, but I think Scorpio is frustrated by the one-dimensional nature of it. Now, these signs can learn a lot from each other because Scorpio can really maintain stability and can really take advantage of some of its strengths by having structure in place, which is something that a Capricorn is so typically good at. Capricorn is grounded, they're grounded in the material world, they have their feet touching. And Scorpio, that's something that they really need and sorely lack sometimes when they're really getting overwhelmed with emotions or sort of internal currents. Capricorn can also learn something from Scorpio, although in some ways I feel like Capricorn isn't always going to acknowledge that or see that they need that. They might be somewhat fascinated by Scorpio, but Capricorn can be very, very, Capricorn is a cardinal sign and they really want to keep that process going. And because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, there's that really strong Saturnian influence. Typically a lot of Capricorns learned or embodied from a young age that like hard work and struggle and pain is like part of the game and it's necessary towards getting to the end destination. And so when they see sometimes Scorpio working with some turbulent emotions, Capricorns have usually been nurtured in a way to repress those, or they have life experiences where they feel like those are things that get in the way of their goals, or they'll see it as a weakness, or they just see it as like a waste of time. And again, that's where there's going to be some conflict because something that Scorpio sort of considers to be their superpower is seen by Capricorn as something that's literally a waste of time. And so I think that if a Capricorn can soften, if they have some water in their chart, that can be a really tremendous pairing with a Scorpio. That can really work really well. If there's just a ton of very dominant Capricorn Saturnian energy, it's harder. Yes, earth and water do kind of balance each other out, but in this case, I really like Capricorn being kind of balanced out by its opposite sign, Cancer. Scorpio is there's just some friction between these two signs, and I like it more than Scorpio with Sagittarius or more than Scorpio with Libra, but I don't like it as much as some of the other on paper compatible pairings like Virgo, or obviously the water signs. If this is to work, both of the partners have to be able to embody a little bit of the other and have to really respect and actively respect the powers and the traits of their partner. It can't just be one person, because both these signs can build up resentment, and both these signs can want to dominate, and it's really like a power struggle between those two, and it doesn't work if only one person kind of works on that or is aware of it. Both of them have to agree to be co-leaders. I think you typically see at least more of these relationships, not saying ones that work out, just saying more that exist between the more masculine partner being the Capricorn, the more feminine partner being the Scorpio. But I don't know, it's not, there's a lot of issues for reasons I just described that make it very much a challenge, especially if the more feminine Scorpio just isn't seen or continually is not valued, or that person is seen as weaker or a liability or whatever. Or rather, I think that pairing is actually less likely to work. I like this more when it's actually the more masculine partner is the Scorpio and the more feminine partner is the Capricorn. I think that is usually better pairing, because a more feminine expression of Capricorn energy is just a little bit softer and smoother. I think that makes it more likely that these two are going to work well together, but again, generalization.